I mean, that's the way it happened, but it wasn't like that was going to help him. It did go down like that. The woman got it from the devil and brought it to him. See, the devil was slick. He knew how to do it. He knew how to mess everything up. He went through the woman first, right? And then the woman got the man hooked. That's how it can happen in a lot of cases. But it wasn't like the man was going to get off the hook because he knew better. He should have went along with it. So that wasn't going to be no good excuse for him. I was thinking that one time myself. I remember years ago when Michael Jordan was still playing with the Bulls, they was winning championships every year. And they had a playoff game on Friday night. Since we don't watch no TV, for some reason, on this Friday night, I wanted to watch that game. I said, I want to watch that game tonight. And I ain't say it. I'm thinking to myself. And I guess the devil was working on my wife, too, because all of a sudden, when it was time for the games, she jumped up and said, we just going to watch it tonight. And I thought to myself, like, Lord, that was her. You heard her. And then the second thought was, don't be stupid. I said, woman, cut the TV off. But for a fraction of a second, I said, I can get away with that. So we didn't watch it anyway. But that's what Adam thought. He said, look, the man, verse 12, and the man said unto the woman, who said, the woman whom thou don't halfway blame the woman and God. Look, that woman you gave me, God. The woman whom thou gavest to be with me. She gave me of the tree and I did eat. Well, he was the man. He could have stopped the whole thing. He didn't have to eat when she brought it to him. He could have said, no, we ain't going to deal with that. We ain't going to deal with that. And he could have saved her still. Because God even let a husband revoke a vow that his wife had made. That's how much authority he gives a man. But he didn't do that. He went along and ate. That would have been the same thing if I'd have went along and watched that game. Because I really wanted to watch it myself. And then when she said it, just worked perfect. I said, boy, the devil is slick. But now back up to verse 6. Because it did happen like he said. That was how it went. And that's how they got to the fruit. But go ahead, verse 6.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took up the fruit thereof and did eat.
And she ate first. Go ahead. Then what?
And gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
See, but he didn't have to eat. He didn't have to go along with it at all. But they both ate, and God punished everybody. He punished the woman, the man, and the serpent. But they did eat some fruit, right? Mm-hmm. But we know it wasn't no apple. It's the same fruit Jesus told you to beware of these false shepherds. But let's look at it. Hosea 10. Let's see what kind of fruit it really was. Since we're saying it wasn't an apple, we need to know what kind of fruit it was. And in turn, we would know what kind of fruit we got to beware of from a false preacher. Jesus said, beware of them. You would know them by their fruit. Well, obviously, if they false, they're not going to be telling you the truth, brothers and sisters. Hosea 10. And we just going to read one verse. Verse 13. Hosea 10 and verse 13. Okay, go ahead.
Ye have plowed wickedness. Ye have reaped iniquity. Ye have eaten the fruit of lies.
Oh, see, here's some fruit here somebody ate, right? Because you reap what you sow anyway. So he said, you plow wickedness, you reap iniquity. That's what happened. He said, but you have eaten the fruit of lies. All these years later from Genesis, people still been doing that, haven't they? They eating the fruit of lies. And obviously when you got to Matthew, you still had to beware eating the fruit of lies because Jesus said, beware of these false prophets, didn't he? And that's how you would know them, by their fruit. So you listen to what the man is saying, and you go home and you reading the Bible, and it don't add up. You got to assume he must be a false prophet. Right. Like I said the other day, when we celebrated the trumpet, most people can see the difference, but they think they crazy. Most people read the Bible, because the people that go to average church, they looking for God. They want to do right. But they put too much responsibility on the preacher, assuming that he is going to tell them what's right. So you'll read the Bible and you'll go listen to the preacher and you'll just be scratching your head. Boy, I can't figure it out. Pastor, no, he got it because I can't figure it out. Because it ain't lining up what he said. That's why you can't figure it out. I tried that for years. I tried to make it go together, what he was saying and what the Bible was saying. It didn't never go together. That's when I figured out. I thought I was crazy at first. I said, no, he crazy. He ain't telling me what this is saying. You try to make this fit some lies that he done told you. It'll never work. That's how you recognizing his fruit. But now, let's go back to Matthew 16. Matthew 16, because Jesus warned you another way. He said, you'll know them by their fruit. Same fruit Adam and Eve ate. Some lies. He warned you another way. This is how important this message is. It's all over the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation. You're getting warned about this. People say they believe in Jesus, but I ask them, well, do you believe this? Jesus warned you about probably your own preacher that you've been listening to. Matthew 16 and 6. Here it is again. Again, the title is The Missed Message. This is a message that's been missed by many. Beware of false preachers. Notice what Jesus said, 16 and 6. Go ahead.
Then Jesus said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees.
Again, that same word, beware again, right? Mm-hmm. And he's talking about some men that's giving you some fruit, right? Some bad fruit, some bad teaching, some bad doctrine. And we think it don't matter. We go to the average church and think it don't matter. And then to leave and say, oh, pastor really preached. And they can't tell you nothing from the Bible at gunpoint. But they think he preached. Like I said before, it really made me upset. I wanted to really hurt somebody when my aunt told me this man preached good at my grandmother's funeral. We left out there. She said, oh, he really preached today. I said, what'd he say? Oh, he preached. He can't say nothing he said because I'm sitting there heard it. And I told you what he said. The only thing he said is how his shirt was talking to him that morning. He had a nice little storyline, though. Oh, when I woke up this morning, I got ready to iron my shirt. He was dressed sharp and everything. And she said he really preached behind that because he said, when I ironed my shirt, he said, don't burn me. That was his whole story. Talking about how his shirt talked to him. And she said, oh, he preached. See, they think preaching is just telling some nice story to make you feel good. But preaching is giving you some understanding about God. So, Jesus said, again, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. Beware of these men, and they teach. These are the denomination of Jesus' day. But see, they didn't get it. He called it leaven here. He didn't call it no fruit. Leaven represents bread, but it's the same difference. It's something that you should be eating that you got to take heed to. Verse 7, go ahead.
And they reasoned among themselves, saying, it is because we have taken no bread.
See, they thought he talked to them about literal bread, just like people that made that fruit literal apple, right? It wasn't literal bread. That's what they thought, though. They said, oh, he's mad. He don't want us to buy their bread, and we forgot to bring our own bread. Jesus told them, I just made miracle. I made bread and fish out of nothing, out of thin air. I obviously ain't worried about you buying that bread literal. But they didn't get it, but they got it later. Verse 11. Go ahead.
Which when Jesus perceived, he said...
Verse 11. Skip down to verse 11.
How is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees?
See, because we skipped a few verses at the same time, but he told them, about the miracles he did. What make you think I'm worried about some real bread? So down here he broke it down. How is it you do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread? I'm not talking about no bread. Neither was it talking about an apple in Genesis, was it? Mm-hmm. That is so clear. But how many people you think believe that it was apple today? Many people still believe that. Because that's what they heard. They just take what they heard and run with it. Yep. Oh, yeah, they ate an apple. Adam and Eve ate an apple. They make pictures of them biting into an apple. That was the first sin, the forbidden fruit. Now, the forbidden fruit is them preachers you listening to. That's the forbidden fruit. He said, how is it you understand? I spake it not to you concerning bread, that you should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Then they got the message. Verse 12, which the message that most people have missed to this day. What is it? Verse 12.
Then understood they how Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread,
but
of
what?
the doctrine of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees.
Oh, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees. See, the Pharisees and the Sadducees were well-respected religious denominations of Jesus' day. But that don't mean nothing. You got to listen to what they teaching. He said they understood that it was about their doctrine. Because if your doctrine don't line up with the Bible's doctrine, then you are a false preacher. And people need to beware of listening to you. So that's what it was. But now let's go all the way to the end, to Revelation 22. Because we're going to show you probably the most important false teaching coming from the average false preacher is concerning what it's going to take to get eternal life. Many preachers that preach Jesus say that you don't have to do nothing, right? You don't have to do nothing. Grace just saves you no matter what. Look, grace give you another chance, even though you didn't earn it. Grace gives you another chance, but it don't save you no matter what. Faith without works, the Bible says what? Dead. Plain and simple. So we can't let preachers continue to tell us that we don't have to do nothing and we just saved by grace. But now, to show you that, this is just an indication how you're getting bad fruit from these preachers. We're going to read what Jesus said in the last book of the Bible, Revelation 22 and verse 14. Let's see what he's saying it takes to get eternal life. This is the most important thing. This is why it's so important that we get the message, beware of false preachers, that we don't miss it like most people. Verse 14, go ahead.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city.
See, now, last book in the Bible, the last chapter in the Bible, almost down to the last verse in the Bible, we are still getting told that we need to keep God's commandments because they haven't been done away with. Even Jesus told a man in Matthew 19, the man asked him, what good thing should I do that I may inherit eternal life? Jesus told the man, keep the commandments. Then when the man said, which commandment? Jesus started running down the 10 commandments. Letting them know that's what you got to do. You got to be about God's business, what he done told you. So that has not changed in Revelation. People want to be blessed and highly favored, but they don't want to do nothing to get it. But Jesus is said right here, blessed are they that do his commandments. That's how you get blessed. And he said that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. He's letting you know this is what's going to get you in. You do have to do something. Or else it wouldn't be no need for him to warn you and say everybody going to get judged according to their works. So obviously you got to do something. But how many preachers do we got nowadays that tell people you don't have to do nothing, just believe on Christ. Just believe on Christ. See, that's an indication right there. You listening to one of the ones Jesus told you to beware of. Because they tell you don't have to, they taking away your route to get into the kingdom. That's why he said, many are called, but few are chosen. Many are on the road to destruction, that broad road. And few are on the road, the straight, narrow road that leads to life. Because many people are listening to these false shepherds out here. But go ahead, verse 15, because now he told you what it's going to take to get into the city. Now he's going to tell you who on the outside of the city. And the first one he mentioned is the ones we talk about in this lesson today. The message, beware of false preachers. Who is the first one he said is on the outside that's not getting in? Verse 15.
For without are dogs and sorcerers.
Oh, without a dog. See, dogs mean a couple of things in the Bible. It means low down, period. But in the Bible, it can refer to, in the Old Testament, one time it referred to some sodomites. But see, this is really referring to false preachers right here. Because that's even more dangerous than sodomite. Matter of fact, the false preacher is the one keeping the sodomite from changing his life. The false preacher is the one keeping the adulterer from changing his life because he's telling them it's okay no matter what. You don't have to do nothing. The false preacher is the one keeping everybody messed up because he's not warning them what it really takes to please God. Right. So he's worse than any of them. He's the one keeping them messed up. That's why God going to really punish them severely. He even say, Jesus even told about the false preachers his day. He said, they're going to get the greater damnation. They're going to get a greater damnation.